Alright, you guys, what's up? What's up, Theory and Theology? It's another nice week, nice morning, May 20th, 2024. What have you guys got planned? What's in the works? So I was glad to be able to take a trip with family to New Orleans. Never seen the place before this past weekend. But that was my weekend. I didn't really get extra time to do other stuff too much. Got back in around 7:30, 7:45 p.m. last night. Had enough time for a late dinner. Was kind of relaxed. Showered, and that was kind of the end of my night. Then I had to go to bed. I probably slept by 10, woke up around 5, and so I'm recording at 6:30 a.m. right now. And while I was on the plane, I didn't have Wi-Fi, so I was kind of going back listening to some past recordings, and I kind of wanted to get into this topic of internet again, because where I left off last time is different now, different from now. So last time I had talked about, some experiences where, I was having issues with scrolling and issues with, just binge watching intense content that I knew I probably shouldn't really be watching because it was affecting my sleep and, my peace of mind for a couple days there after watching it. And there were some people that I listened to since then. I don't know the names, but one person mentioned something along the lines of, the idea of like avoiding Netflix, video games, stuff like that, to, be able to focus on other stuff. So, focus on creativity, focus on health, focus on exercising, getting outside, socializing, because, a lot of the day gets caught up, and I'm not saying like, I'm not like trying to push my own agenda saying that like internet's bad or whatever. I mean, I'm clearly on the internet. I'm recording literally right now on the internet. I woke up and listened to, the stock market open. I go on the internet. I'm not against the internet. I'm just thinking along the lines of, sometimes people need and want something to change for them, and they realize that they don't feel good, and they realize that they haven't been feeling the way they want to feel, or things haven't been going the way that they want them to go. And I think a lot of us have this screen time issue, but I think one thing to keep in mind is, what is the screen time? Because I mean, okay, I can have days where literally my screen is on all day, or screen time all day, but maybe it's because I don't have YouTube Premium, and so my screen is open and on, and maybe I'm watching or listening in the background to a YouTube video that's a podcast, or maybe I'm listening on Spotify to Joe Rogan and it's like a 2.5 hour long episode, or maybe I'm recording on here and it's like an hour long episode. I mean, if I did that could already be 3-4 hours of my day where it's like maybe I've learned quite a few things and I've created a few things, and it could already be 4 hours of being online, versus, okay, I was literally just playing games on my phone, or literally just like watching 2 movies on Netflix or whatever. So I mean, it's hard for me to it's hard for me to really say people shouldn't be entertained, because it's nice, it's pleasant to get entertained. But I think one thing is one thing that's easy to do is losing track of time. I mean, I think it's good if people want to watch movies and stuff, set aside the time to do it. I'm a big, Saturday binge watching person. Usually, if I'm in town, just hanging out at home, I'm probably gonna be watching something in the daytime at home, just chilling um, on my computer, on my phone. I tend to watch stuff on my phone though, more than on my computer. Most of my logins, everything is pretty much on my phone. I prefer that. I'm getting used to using my laptop a little bit more often because it does have a lot more, powerful aspects to it. A little less multitasking, but even when I work, I mean, I have to log into work in an hour and 55 minutes, and it's online. I have to go on the computer. So I'm literally going to be logged in online for 8.5 hours on my work computer. Now there will be days where I'm going out in the community, but the assessments we do, we have to put them into the computer. So we're probably going to be doing them. I haven't shadowed someone yet. I have to shadow my first person this week to learn the skills of how to do it, but I'm pretty sure they're not hard copy, paper, notebook, writing it down and then going home and entering it, because that's a double task. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to bring their work laptop and, that Lenovo ThinkPad and bring it out and have the Wi-Fi and, put in all the information. And so I'm pretty sure that's what is going to be going on. And that's just what it's come to, like I was at the hotel lobby with my family, with parents, siblings, my sister and her boyfriend, and I was in the airport with them, with my folks, and watching them, get an Uber was kind of like, I was a little like, okay, like they take a while, to find the addresses to places and things, like, they take a while to find the address of where to send the Uber, and they take a while to, send me a screenshot of, our flight information by email, and they're just like, you know how to do this stuff so fast, and it's like, I have to do it, like, it's a work skill, like, I have to know how to do it, or else I would never be able to make any money, like, my, ability to make money is dependent on being on the internet. Even if it's not, like, having fun like this completely, having fun on the internet, there's a lot of consumption of information and skills and knowledge as well. But I know the religious crowds, have their concerns about, is this an appropriate use of time, because it's taking time away from prayer, from study, from, learning, from worshiping, things like that. But then, like I said, even if I wasn't, just like, Like even if I was trying not to just go online for entertainment purposes, I would still be online for 8.5 hours for work. Now, we have a 30-minute lunch break, but technically my computer is still on because I'm not going to turn it off and then turn it back on again. Like, that's such an extra step. It takes way more, extra logging in and authentication and all that. So, usually I keep my workstation, everything kind of on during lunch, because it just makes sense. Like, my computer's at home, it's in my room, like, no one's gonna tamper with it, so why would I turn it off, It just will take that extra, like, 10 minutes to log back in again, if I turn it off. So it's not like I have company, there's no guests, like, sharing my room or anything like that. I'm drinking a little bit of this C4. That's Smart Energy C4. Kind of hits the spot. But, that's kind of mostly what I see with the internet. I do see it as a learning tool. I see it as a job tool. It can definitely be a distraction too, though. And I was, at the airport, kind of realizing, I was in the hotel lobby and in the airport, and kind of just realizing how many people are on their phones. And it's like, people were on their phones for like really long periods of time. It's just like no shade to my folks, but I'll just say in general, them as well as some other people that were, that I've heard about. You hear about other people at concerts and events and stuff where it's like they've just got their phone out the whole time. Like, I've been behind people at concerts that literally recorded the whole concert. Like, behind, like, they're standing there, maybe about the fifth or sixth person from the stage, general admission, on the floor, right there in front of the band, phone out the whole time, And, I'm pretty, I'm guilty of that too. I'm right now uploading some of the footage from New Orleans, and I was really into hearing the bands and stuff. There was a lot of cool musical stuff going on all around. They had a band at the graduation, that they did the procession to the reception, and that was really cool. And then, because that was one thing I wanted to witness, was a procession, like a jazz procession. And it just so happened that we got to be in the procession to the event where we were going. So that was pretty dope. I was really into that. So, I love jazz, I love horns, I love, brass, I love just live music. If you know me, you know that I love live music, and that was one of the things, other than, of course, my sister graduating, but that was one of the things I really wanted to go there for, was to witness some of the musical culture. I wasn't able to really get out and do too much because it was just hard with the time. We flew in Friday night, got there around 1 a.m. New Orleans time, and flying out of LA we left right after I logged off work, and the flight left around 7:20, 7:30 something p.m. Friday night, and we got there like 1 a.m. their time, but we had to wait for my dad till like 2 a.m. We probably got, or maybe 2, it was after 2:30 actually, because his flight kept taking longer. I kept watching this app or this website that shows you kind of like how long it takes when you know the flight information. So I'd put in his Delta flight information, and it kept saying like 15 minutes, like 7 minutes, and like it shows you how many miles away they were and stuff. So it was counting down, but the time kept creeping and creeping. It went from like, yeah, the wait kept extending and extending little by little. So we were waiting for quite a while. He gets there. Then we get to the hotel probably around 3 a.m. or so. And then I don't really start going to sleep till like 4 a.m. And then got up around 9:30 for breakfast. I actually woke up around 7 a.m. But got up around 9:30 to get to the breakfast before 10. And so kind of got up, got the breakfast, and then, we had a whole day of 2 graduation ceremonies, basically. And then Sunday we checked out at 11. My parents checked out at 11:30. And we kind of stuck around the hotel lobby till around 1 or 2 or so. Instead of going and doing something, we kind of just waited around the lobby. So, I had time to do stuff, but I technically just didn't do it. I didn't go out Saturday night. I didn't go out Sunday after checkout. I was just kind of like, let me just take it easy. But I was listening to stuff in the background, podcasts and things. I had my kind of headphones kind of in. But I did just notice people around me in the lobby, everybody kind of sitting on their screens. People, when they were eating in the dining area for their breakfast, people just kind of on their screens, It just seemed like people were on their screens a lot. Can I pause this? I don't know how to pause this. Sorry guys, I'm dealing with newly using Riverside with Spotify for podcasters. So please be patient with me. I'm not completely familiar with this software, but it looks like it does a little bit more than what Anchor was able to do. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see once I get this kind of uploaded. But there's a YouTuber. I was following some of his content, and he was talking about 2 topics, maybe. I guess one topic he said was, he's a Muslim guy, and he was saying, related to the topic of haram, which I think haram means anything that you're not supposed to be doing. He was saying he never found himself benefiting from doing something that was haram, and especially like if you're engaging in something long term that is considered haram. He never found a benefit to it long term. Like it never benefited him long term. Like maybe stuff, in the short term it's like, okay, like this is fun or whatever, but he was saying in the long term. Now, I'm not saying I practice that or condemn it or condone it. I'm just talking about an idea surrounding it. Something that was interesting to me was a short clip that he posted, probably on YouTube. And I don't know if it was Instagram, but I'm pretty sure it was YouTube, maybe. And it was him working out, like lifting from home. And it was kind of like, I don't remember the exact explanation. It said lifting from home because of the music at the gym, there's music at the gym that's haram, and then, you know, I guess he was saying that there's women there that are kind of like too exposed, I guess. And maybe I don't really know. I mean, the most I've ever seen people at the gym is like on occasion you'll see someone with their shirt off, a guy, or you'll see a woman with a sports bra, or it's pretty popular to have those like really tight, like skin tight pants, like leggings, either short legging, short shorts like that, or kind of like knee length, or even all the way down to like the ankles. Um, so I feel like women are pretty covered. It's just, I don't know, maybe that's a distraction for people if there's someone at the gym. There's this other guy that was a Jewish guy who was getting interviewed. He's a religious Jewish guy, and I don't know how I stumbled across his interview. And sorry, guys, I don't really have links for these, but he's a religious Jewish guy that he basically lifts. And he was saying, like, you know, it's not very common for religious Jews to be like lifting and working out. And that's something I've kind of seen a lot lately with content geared towards, I don't really want to say younger age males, but males in general. I think maybe a younger age range too. It's becoming more of a conversation about how internet affects people. You kind of hear this term incels, um, and you know, you do hear a lot more people talking about exercising, working out, getting off the internet, of getting off from gaming and social media and Netflix and all that. Like, there is a conversation around that, and it's not only from a religious perspective. I think people are realizing, okay, like, it's easy to get sucked into that. You know, I got sucked into it, and especially when I was looking for work, for like solid work. I'm not talking Uber Eats because that was work, but when I was searching for a job that was gonna be more sustainable. This one is not fully sustainable, but more sustainable. But I'm getting like massive deductions and taxes, and it is not pretty. Um, but um, yeah, it just, I don't feel like it it was easy to kind of stay focused for me. Like, I did have a difficult time with it because my options were, um, you know, look for jobs online on the internet, right? Um, which is not fun. Like, you're doing job applications and you're trying to learn about doing them, and you're like, you keep, for me, I was like, keep checking and see, like, is what I'm doing the most effective route? Because it didn't feel very effective, especially because I wasn't trying to work in, you know, like social work, case management type of work. And those were the sites that were wanting me to work for them. So I did kind of just buckle. And April 29th, when I started this job, I was like, whatever. It's the closest thing to about as remote as I'm going to get. Because LA doesn't do a lot of remote work with health related work. And I wasn't really trying to be back in psychology and stuff. But this is less mental health based and more physical health. Like, when people get out of the hospital, we do home visits and we do phone enrollments. So when people are like getting out of the hospital, that's kind of when we're doing this. Um, and it's, you know, it's good for for savings. It's good for social planning. That's kind of what I see this job as. It's a means to get me to certain places, but I don't see myself growing in this job or in this field. It's kind of the field I'm trying to get out of. I'm not trying to get more and more into this field. I'm trying to get away from it. So with the job application process, it just wasn't fun. So it's like, of course I'm going to absorb a bunch of stuff and spend time just like vegging out. I had accountability, so, I did have a quota that I tried to reach with my job applications. I was usually under that number, to be honest, but I probably did more than I would have if I didn't have someone I was accountable to about it and the actual, process of finishing it. So just having that accountability, telling somebody, okay, I'm trying to do this many applications by this date, and then portioning them out, with a little wiggle room for, in case I can't get to that many on certain days. So that was one option of things I had to do. Another option of things I had to do was going out, driving Uber Eats. It wasn't Uber rides, it was Uber food delivery. Driving around, getting gas, spending a whole lot of money on gas, having to spend money on the steering fluid for my car because it leaks steering fluid, and so spending money on that, not every day, just when it was running low. But the more I drove, the more I had to spend on it. So, probably I don't know how much I was using. I was driving a lot though. Probably half a bottle a week or so when I was driving a lot, when I was driving quite a few hours every day. And it's not fun. It's you come home with on a good day of a Sunday of maybe about 4 or 5 hours of driving, I'd probably bring in about $60-$70. And a little bit of that maybe into gas. I mean, it's really not a good wage. And living in Los Angeles, that, you're not really making a lot of money. I could save and make some money, but a lot of it went back into gas. It wasn't the majority of the money, but a lot of it went back into gas, because I'm driving an SUV right now, so it just guzzles gas. I think the car gets 19 miles to the gallon or something, and that's when it was new. So it probably gets less than that, because I'm not really driving freeways a lot. I'm mostly driving, just local residential little areas. I try not to take the far away orders. So, I still remember one order that wanted me to drive downtown during rush hour for $20. I was or $25 or something. But I was heck no. But yeah, that was one of the options of things I had to do. Another option of things I had to do was, working out, go to the gym, working on my, podcasting. I've got a website, online sales, reselling, eBay, OfferUp, that type of stuff, or, monetized podcasts, working on those, or monetized blogs and getting a little income out of those here and there. And so it's my energy was spread pretty thin. And then, working on the class work for the certifications, for the tech certifications. It's one of those things where it's Who knows? Like, looking back at it, I'm like, of course I was online scrolling all over the place and like just trying to get some kind of a fix of something that was like interesting. Uber Eats is not that interesting. You don't feel like you're gaining skills or like learning anything or like doing anything exciting. It was cool to be able to listen to podcasts, but it's like, how long do you really want to sit listening to podcasts all day? And you're not making enough money to really like make a lot of movement in your life. For the amount of hours that you're working, it's like you're making like between 10 to 15 an hour. And there is that payout, that Prop 22 payout. So you are making about 15 an hour. It does even out to about minimum wage plus a little bit over with tips. And so I would say it's good if you're making no money to be able to bring in money that way, because it's flexible. Like, you're not on the clock or anything. But if you don't have a car that's good with gas mileage, you're really cutting into your profits there, because you have to get gas, because the whole point is you're driving around. So that was something that was just not a pleasant experience. I wasn't able to socialize as much because I was like, well, the more I want to do stuff, I have to freaking buy, you know, all kinds of things. I gotta buy gas, I gotta buy food, I gotta buy drinks. And even if I eat at home before I go out, I still gotta buy gas, I still gotta pay parking. You know, even if I go out and barely buy anything, like a juice or a soda or whatever, which I am that person that will be that cheap. Like, I don't care what other people think. I'm not like, oh, like, I mean, like, literally, if I make plans to go out to dinner, I'm gonna go out to dinner. You know what I mean? But it's like, if that's the plan, I'm not gonna be like, oh, like, I'm just gonna not buy anything because I don't want to pay, and I'm going out solo to dinner with one other person or lunch or something. I'm not just gonna leave them hanging and make it kind of awkward. That is kind of awkward. But if I'm going out with like a group or whatever, and we're going to like a restaurant or whatever, I don't feel pressured. I'll tell people, I'll be like, I ate at home, I'm just gonna snack, and maybe get like I don't know, fries or whatever, like something cheap. Like, I don't feel obligated to spend, like, I've been at a table with people who buy, like $25 worth of an entree, like another $10 dessert, maybe two drinks. They're each like $10 each or so. Five, let's make it cheaper. Let's say they're $7 each. So say they spend $14 on the drinks, about $10 on dessert. It's like $50 for their bill plus tax and tip for them. And I'm sitting here with like some $7 fries and some water, and I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. you know? Like, I got nobody to impress. Like, I don't do that all the time, but I'm like, that's literally how I roll. I'm like, I have food at home. I ate my dinner at home. I do not need to, like, feel pressured to spend as much as everybody else is spending. That's their business. Usually I'm the one who has the car, so I drove, I paid for the gas, I paid for the parking. So I'm already paying more than everybody anyways if they're not driving. So, you know, I don't feel obligated at all. If I'm paying $9 parking and, $15 in gas, I can drink water, not hardly eat anything. Eat at home either before I leave or after I get back, and not starving or whatever. But I don't feel the obligation to fully participate. People might think it's weird, but that's just how I roll. I don't really care. I'd rather save the money. To me, it's more important to focus on my finances and not be overspending in areas where it just doesn't make sense. I'm there to socialize. I'm not there to eat necessarily. I've got the eating taken care of. I've got the food part taken care of. Like, I make sure at home I have usually food that I like to eat. And even if it's not food that I like to eat, usually it's food that, you know, it's going to be fine for me to eat. So I'm not going to worry, you know, when I'm going out. But there is something that I do notice, though, is you know, the more you don't have things to look forward to, the more you're going to struggle with like your online issues, you know. It's easy to kind of try to fill a void with the online world. And sometimes it can be healthy, you know. Sometimes it's like, okay, maybe you can't see your friends in person or see your family in person. Why not do some online gaming where you're online together, or Zoom calls and stuff like that? Like, is there really something wrong with it? I don't think there's really something wrong with it. But if you're doing that longer than you should and you're not applying to jobs or skipping the gym because of that, that's a whole different conversation, I feel like. Or if you're, you know, out and about, you know, with limited time and just a lot of little time in between, you know, you might be checking emails or messages or messaging people back or whatever. But I think mostly the good thing to think about is, at least for me, I try to think about, what am I doing instead? I mean, what is this internet usage taking place of? Like this morning I had to think of it. I was like, am I going to wake up and podcast, or am I going to lay here for like 2.5 hours? I was pretty sure I'm not going to fall back to sleep. And it's like, I don't want to be up so early in the morning just thinking about, oh, I got work. I got to work today, and then just be thinking about what I'd be doing at work. And it's like, that's a waste of time, you know? To me, that's a waste of a morning, you know? I'd rather be podcasting. I'd rather be working out. I might have to try to cram in a little workout here this morning. I said I was going to do it during my lunch, but since I'm awake, it actually kind of makes, I think, more sense to kind of do it now. So I might get in a workout. It'll just probably be pretty weak. Because I haven't had any breakfast, but morning workouts are good. So I'm going to get on that, actually, so that I don't have to cut into my lunch break. And get in maybe a 30-minute workout. And, you know, I'll post this episode. Yeah. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Hopefully it's a relatable topic. But I'm not here to tell people what to do. But, yeah, that's kind of just what's been on my mind about things just after being out of town for the weekend and observing how things are. It's like, yeah, you know for yourself if your screen time is an issue. It just takes that internal honesty. Like, am I avoiding things that I could be doing or would benefit me, my body, my mind, my soul by doing those things? Or am I Netflixing? Am I Instagramming? Am I TikToking? You know, instead of doing the things that actually need to do for myself. Alright guys, I'm gonna start getting my workout on. That's it for now.